This video is an example of what it feels like to be dyslexic in a regular classroom. This type of learning style can be found in 1 out of every 10 students, or 10% of the population. In this video, the student feels slow, dumb, stupid, and even lazy, not because she is any of these things, but because the environment does not support her learning style.
To do a binomial square, a plus b squared, and it's best if we know the formula. Where does the formula come from? A plus b squared, we're going to take a plus b.
In a classroom where the teacher does not acknowledge my learning difference, I become frustrated.
We remember that first, outer, inner, last.
This frustration leads me to become distracted by the noises and actions around me.
Plus b squared. We can then easily go over to binomial cube. Adding one more. So we're going to go a plus b times a plus b times a plus b. I think we can now say that we know how to do a binomial square and a binomial cube. So that's it for today.
In a math class, in order to understand the steps of the equation, I must see the individual steps put together as a whole. If you were to compare my perspective to a linear perspective, it would be like comparing a bird's perspective to an ant's perspective. They are not the same.
This student's style is holistic, like the bird with an aerial view of the field. The bird sees the big picture and fills in the details later. The rest of the class is linear, like the ant's perspective. The ant sees the details first, like blades of grass, and views the big picture later. These are two totally different views on the same subject matter, but both styles are of equal value. Students with dyslexia experience a vocabulary list in picture form, not just as words to be read. These incredible students actually take a mental snapshot of the word and store it in a place where it can be easily retrieved.
When I study for a vocab test, I memorize the words as snapshots. Rather than sounding out the letters to make a word, I divide the words into fragments and memorize the letters in groups and patterns. For example, with the words confession and confusion, I focus on the C-O-N and the S-I-O-N at the beginning and the end. The middle is not important to me. It is not highlighted in my mind.
I often confuse similar-looking words such as adverse and averse.
With these words, I just focus on the A, the V, and the SE. It's like I have lots of snapshots in my head, which I connect with definitions.
One of the best approaches to learning vocabulary is a multisensory one. Students with dyslexia often benefit from an intermediate cue when learning new vocabulary words. For example, in the case of the word adverse, the student with dyslexia focuses on the beginning and the end of the word, creating a mental snapshot. The word adverse has now become a retrievable file. Oftentimes, students with dyslexia experience frustration with typical testing formats. They learn material in multisensory environments, but are tested using just one sense. Over time, frustration levels can increase, especially when adults assume the student hasn't prepared or given it their all.
Anna, I wanted to talk to you about your test scores. In class, it seems like you know what you're talking about, but your test doesn't reflect what you know. It seems like if you just apply yourself a little bit, maybe you'll get a better test result.
The cumulative effect of all this frustration can be twofold. On the one hand, a student can become a class clown just to counter the negative self-image that comes with poor test grades. And on the other hand, you can wind up with very bright students that just give up, because they simply don't believe academic success is possible.